Okay, today we are going to tackle a tough conversation. I'm Zylene, your everyday normal girl who loves to talk about stuff. And today we are diving into a topic that's as controversial as it is important: the body positivity movement. Before we get started, I do want to acknowledge something really important that I don't think is acknowledged enough. The body positivity movement was born out of a real need to end fat shaming. Back then, society was so obsessed with appearance that a person's physical size could put them into a rigid social hierarchy. Think about how insane that is. A system where your worth was dictated by something as personal and complex as your body. That level of judgment and cruelty created real harm, not just emotionally but also mentally and socially. Those were real problems. And the movement's goal to challenge these toxic standards were, and still are, worthy of recognition. But today, we're focusing on a whole different perspective. I want to talk about how the body positivity movement has evolved, and in some ways, how it's lost sight of its original intentions. This is something I care a lot about, so I am going to be sharing my personal opinions over this topic. So let's rewind to when body positivity first began. Back then, it was all about inclusion. It was a movement rooted in compassion. Standing up to say, hey, no matter what you look like, you deserve respect, dignity, and a place in society. It was about rejecting the idea that thinness was the ultimate standard of beauty and that anything outside of that was less than. And you know what? That's a message I think most people can get behind. We should never tie someone's value as a person to the way they look. But in recent years, something's changed. Body positivity has taken a huge turn. For a lot of people out there, it's moved beyond self-love and self-acceptance into a space that basically glorifies obesity. And that's where things get tricky. Instead of encouraging people to love themselves while striving for health and well-being, it now seems to push this narrative that if you don't want to be fat, or if you believe in weight loss for health reasons, you're fat-phobic. If you say you do not want to date someone that's fat, you're also fat-phobic.
Welcome to A Day in the Life of a Fat Activist. I start the day off feeding my cat some treats because she needs to know that unless she's fat, I won't love her.
If you work out because you want your body to look a certain way, you don't care about health, you are fat-phobic.
That statement alone makes me question this whole entire movement. Because in my opinion, there's a difference between shaming somebody for their body and encouraging a lifestyle that promotes physical and mental well-being. The two should not be conflicted, but with the modern interpretation of body positivity, they often are. And to be quite honest, I don't mean any disrespect to fat people or obese people in general. I think the very main thing that I disagree with the body positivity movement is the fact that you cannot push your narrative onto other people. So I agree that you should be completely fine in your own body. You should love yourself in your own body. But if I want to be skinny, but you're not letting me be skinny, and you're telling me that being skinny is being fat phobic, that is what I have a problem with. That is something that I cannot agree with. And so many people, especially on TikTok, is saying that being fat is just the best thing you can ever do, and they're actually shaming the people that are going to the gym and working out and saying that, oh, you don't love your body because you're going to the gym and working out. That is just not right. That is something that I can never agree with and something that I will never wrap my head around, really. I just don't really know how to, I guess, understand that. No matter who it is that are telling me these things, I just don't really understand that. And I personally would never want to be fat. Because me personally, I don't like my body being fat. I've always actually struggled with this personally. If I was ever like growing weight or putting on weight, I would get really upset at myself and then struggle to eat. And then even if I do eat, my body will actually automatically throw it up. So it's a personal problem. It doesn't apply to every skinny person out there, right? But I just wanted to make it clear that that is not me being fat phobic. That is just me liking my body being skinny rather than being fat. But in some TikTok creators or influencers' eyes, that is being fat phobic. For example, we see influencers and public figures promoting slogans like "fat is beautiful" or "fat is healthy" as blanket statements. And while I completely agree that beauty is subjective and that everyone has the right to feel beautiful in their own skin, health is not subjective. There are countless studies and researches showing the risk of obesity, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, joint problems, and so on. Ignoring these risks doesn't help anymore. In fact, it is doing the opposite. The reality is, loving yourself doesn't mean turning a blind eye to health. It means recognizing where you are, accepting it, and making choices that help you live your best life. Not just physically, but emotionally too. And yes, that might mean making tough decisions about diet, exercise, or lifestyle changes. That's not shameful. That is empowering. But what I've noticed is that the modern body positivity movement often sidelines these discussions entirely. It's less about empowerment and more about denial. It sends a message that if you ever think about losing weight, you're betraying the movement, and that is not okay. And that will never be okay. Because at the end of the day, body positivity shouldn't mean ignoring science and glorifying healthy habits. It should mean embracing the idea that everyone is worthy of respect while encouraging healthy, sustainable choices that allows us to thrive and survive. This topic matters to me because I've seen how damaging both extremes can be. On one hand, we have the past, this hyper-judgmental culture where only one body type was celebrated. On the other hand, we have this modern extreme where any discussions of health or weight is labeled as hate. This is the part I hate about this movement in general. And at the end of the day, this isn't about shaming anyone or tearing down the body positivity movement. It's more about taking a step back and asking ourselves, are we really helping people live their best and healthiest life? I'm not saying all fat people are unhealthy or anything like that, but it is a trend that fat and obese people tend to have more health problems. True body positivity should empower us to love ourselves as we are, while also encouraging us to take care of the bodies we have. Like in my case, I like my body being skinny. So in the eyes of the body positivity movement, skinny would be my movement. It's not really about being body positive anymore. It is about being fat positive now, which is what I have a problem with. But it's not about choosing between self-love and health. They go hand in hand. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's challenge ourselves to find that balance, to support one another in kindness, and to recognize that self-respect includes making choices that honor both our minds and bodies. Thank you for listening to my little talk today. And if this is resonating with you, or even if it doesn't, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep this dialogue open and honest because I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. And that's how we can grow as a community and society. Until next time, take care of yourself and you are worth it.